The topic for today is, are the parenting challenges recurring? Do you think that these challenges are eternal? Okay, whatever challenges right now you're facing with your child, be it the eating problem or be it putting them to sleep or having a systematic routine at home, the gadget, the screen time issue, whatever be the problem. Okay, so if you think that this has been recurring for a long time and I have just been firefighting with it for a long time, then this video is for you. To discipline children or to deal with all these challenges, what are the ways and means that parents use? What are the disciplinary methods that generally parents use? It's not just you. I'm not saying that you are using, but what has been prevalent? Like what have we experienced in our growing up? Okay, what were the disciplinary methods that we have grown up with, and what are the disciplinary methods that we are using on our children? Let us discuss on that, because it is not exactly the challenge that is if it is recurring, we need to see on how we are dealing with that and what changes we need to make in that, right? Because if it is again and again recurring, if it is again and again coming up, how much ever we try to deal with it, it means there is something that we need to check on the method that we are using to deal with that challenge, right? And let us come to that. What are the methods that parents generally use to tackle the behavior challenges, be it eating problem, be child not listening, okay, when asked to do something, or child not interested in studies, child maybe not following a routine, the screen time, all these whatever day-to-day challenges we feel. In order to discipline children, what methods do parents use? What are your ideas and thoughts on that? What methods generally our neighbors use, or what is it that is prevalent everywhere? Maybe sometimes we explain them, maybe sometimes we tell them through stories or something, we try to do that, and after 2-3 explanation, yeah, Rohini is saying we sometimes divert a child's mind. Yes, diversion, telling, explanation, all these things we start at first, but when that doesn't seem to work, immediately our intensity also increases, right? Then we gradually shift to maybe slowly raising our voice, and from there, when our frustration builds up, yeah, even after repeated instructions, when things aren't getting set, our frustration gets built up, we start resorting to yelling, shouting, scolding, sometimes spanking children. Yes, and this suddenly it slowly goes towards punishment. Yeah, and there is other way also where parents deal with behavior challenges, is maybe rewarding children, giving them something, making a deal. You eat this and you get a chocolate. Yes, you do this and I'll take you outside. You complete this homework and I'll give you 1 hour mobile time. So maybe the other way, okay, the other way of disciplining is sometimes rewarding children. Okay, it can be called as maybe bribing or having a deal with them, say setting up a deal with them. So these are the two things. Okay, either we resort to punishment or we resort to rewards. Okay, these are the things which we have grown up with. Okay, adults around us, they use these things to discipline us. Yeah, Malika is saying until we raise voice, they don't listen. That is what we believe. But we should ask this question. We should ask this question to ourselves. Okay, if we are using punishment and rewards, okay, these two things, these are 90%, I would say, majority of the parents resort to these two methods to discipline children. Whatever things, the explanation, the instructions, all these things we try, but all that eventually it ends up into punishment. And or if that doesn't work, we start trying to encourage child in the name of encouragement, in the name of trying to motivate them. We end up giving rewards. Yeah, so if we are using these two things, and even then the challenges are not stopping, the reason is because both punishment and rewards, they yield us only short-term results. How many of you accept this? Okay, for that moment that problem gets solved. For that moment, the food on the table, your child starts quickly eating. If we tell them that, look, that policeman, I'm going to call that police wala, is going to come, you better finish your plate of food. For that moment, your child might finish that food, right? Suppose your child is crying in the supermarket and is like wanting something, and you just want to, okay, oh my God, he's making a scene here. Okay, let me give that chocolate to him. Okay, to make your child stop crying, you get that chocolate and then you give it. For that moment, the problem is solved. Your child stops crying for that moment, right? But what about the long term? What happens in the long term? We need to ask this very crucial question to ourselves. This is very, very important. Don't you think so? What about the long term results? Because in the short term, everything seems good, right? Your child listens to you immediately. That particular power struggle gets solved immediately. That particular crying gets solved immediately. But what about the long term? Do you think discipline is getting established in these two cases? Do we know what are the side effects of these two methods of disciplining our children? Punishments. What happens when we are constantly punishing our children, threatening our children, blaming them, shaming them, paining them? It can be verbal, it can be physical, whatever form of punishment we give. What are the side effects of that? What happens to a child who grows up in an environment of punishment? See, you might justify your actions by saying that we were brought up like my parents, they did the exact same thing. They punished us, they beat us. I have turned out fine. Do you think you have turned out fine? If you resort to punishing your child right now, if you resort to physically hurting your child to discipline them right now, do you think you turned out fine? Do you think? Because we never know. We never know what is the right way. Nobody taught us. Nobody actually modeled us that. And whatever we have observed the different community, the different people doing, we have started doing them with our child ourselves. Right? Yes, exactly as I say, Malika, like we need to improve ourselves. We need to improve ourselves. Yes, there is a need to introspect on the methods that we are also using. So what happens if a child is constantly being punished? Right now, you feel that your child is listening to you, but gradually over the years, what happens is 2 years, 3 years, your child might listen because your child is in a helpless state. He is very, very dependent on you for so many things. After 6, 7, 8, when his thinking skills start developing, your child starts manipulating you. Your child starts escaping the very punishment. In order to escape, in order to avoid the harsh consequences, your child might start hiding things from you. Your child might start lying to you. Or your child might go into a shell, retreat into a shell, thinking that, oh my God, I am not that good enough. His self-confidence might go down. There are so many side effects, and these are the things which are irreparable. After a certain period of time, when your child goes after 10 or 11 years, these things are irreparable. You can't go back and change whatever has happened, and even though you want to try, it is going to be maybe swimming opposite the stream current. It is going to be a lot of hard work for us. Right? Now let us look at what happens when we give too much reward to children, when we give in to their demands, or when we just offer some reward and then We think that that work is getting done right now. Very good. So let me do that. If that is what is happening, that is what the disciplinary methods that we have been following, by giving rewards, by making a deal with the child. You eat this, I'll get you. Okay, you finish this, we will go out, or something like that. If that is the disciplinary thing that is happening in the house, then what happens is your child always looks for certain external motivators to get the work done. Yes, he always looks for some rewards, and you as a person, you lose value in front of your child. It is the gifts or it is the rewards that you give has more value. In this case, in both the cases, I would say there is no connection with the parent in the long run, in the long term, and there is no discipline also getting established. Yes, both punishment and rewards, what they are doing is they are actually, it is as if we are picking away the internal motivating factor for a child to develop the self-discipline. The discipline that has to come from within, that we are plucking it at the roots itself, and later we start thinking that my child is not responsible, my child is not self-disciplined. Because both punishment and rewards are something where we try to put discipline in a child from an it is like the motivating factor comes from an external thing. You do this, this happens, like the stimulus and the action. The stimulus to behave properly comes from outside, not from inside. And you must be always there as a, what I would say, as a guard with your child to see to it that discipline is getting established. You must always keep using punishment and reward to see to it that this discipline is getting established. Yeah. So what else can we do? When we can't do punishment, we can't resort to punishment, when we can't resort to rewards as well, what else is there? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought about breaking this cycle? Because what is happening is we are having a behavior challenge, we are using punishment, we are using a reward or something. For that moment the behavior gets subsided, but again it recurs. Sometimes it recurs with an intensifying effect also later. Okay, this time your child cried in a supermarket up to this level, he got a chocolate. Next time your child might throw even a bigger tantrum. Yeah, to get something else, maybe to get that toy or something. So it keeps intensifying, it keeps intensifying, it keeps recurring, it keeps recurring. So where is the solution? Where is the solution? See, basically what I would tell is, as parents, we have not been trained to do things, to deal with the children, to discipline children, because relationships are very messy, they are so complicated, and we need to understand the child, what is going inside the child's mind, what is the need of the child. Okay, what is the need of the child? Why this behavior is coming? Where is the source? In the other video, we spoke about the three things: understanding the child, understanding ourselves, understanding the situation. Right? So there are alternatives to punishment and rewards as well. We can come out of this cycle of screaming, yelling, shouting. We can come out of this cycle of rewarding and bribing our kids in order to discipline them, and we can get the self-discipline come from a child. Okay, there is a chance where we can make the child behave well even though we are not around, okay. And to learn all these things, how many of you think that there is lot more to learn in order to be such a kind of a parent? How many of you think that there is lot more to unlearn and learn? Yeah, there is the alternatives. In order to find out the alternatives, in order to understand the child, in order to have that better connection with the child, there is lot more to learn. Yes, because it's not like parenting has been thrust upon us before even we are trained for that job. That's what I would say, especially in the present generation. In the present generation, our children are much more smarter than us. The present generation kids are much more smarter than us, and they are born in an era where they are exposed to so many things, and they are rapidly grasping so many things. Right? In our era, I would say when I was a kid, I was not as smart as my kids at that age. I was so dumb. I used to listen to what everybody used to say, take a yes for that, and then I was such an obedient kid. But the present generation kids are not like that. They want a reason for everything. They want they want a whys for everything. They are questioning us all the time. And we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared to deal with the present generation kids. And for that, these alternatives, we need to look for it and then start learning it. Right? And there are alternatives. It's not that we have to discipline our children the same way we were disciplined by the adults around us. There are alternatives. Okay, there are alternatives. And one more thing I would tell right now, the age group that your kids are right now, this is the right time where you can start empowering this self-discipline. See, there are these different age groups in children, 2 to 6, 6 to 13, and 13 onwards. Yeah, 0 to 2 is an infancy where they are completely, most of the time, dependent on us. Like all these disciplinary issues doesn't start at that age, right? It's basically their needs. If they get satisfied, it's fine. But 2 to 6 is a crucial time period where we are setting them up for their life. It is a time where they get their beliefs established about themselves. They get their beliefs established about the adults around them. They get to know how to deal with the emotions. This is a crucial time period. Yeah. And if in this time period, if we can actually correctly, if we can guide them, if we can focus on the long term thing, not just on the short term, if those very challenges, if we can turn them into opportunities to develop the life skills in children, then that is going to be the best empowering period of their life. Right? And it depends on all of us, all the adults, the parents especially, because a home is the first school for every child. Right? And what a parent can do, a role a parent can play in a child's life, no other person can do that. No other person can replace that role, replace that effect. Yeah. And whatever belief your child gets formed, it is whatever he hears from our mouth about himself or herself when we are trying to establish that discipline. So are we connected to our child when we are correcting them? When we are trying to correct a child, when we are trying to discipline a child, are we connected? Is the connection strong? Or are we resorting to our own frustrations, our own irritations, and from there we are trying to correct our child? Because our voices become their beliefs. Yeah? And we have come up with this wonderful 1 month intensive parenting program, especially for the early years, 2 to 6 years age group of parenting, where we will be talking especially on this thing. How can you become a long-term parent? A parent who doesn't just focus on the short-term results, but focus on the long-term results, the results of developing the life skills in children. How a parent can use the very challenges as tools to develop the life skills. How a parent can empower a child in this age group, the 2 to 6 year age group, to develop the self-discipline in their children. 4 live sessions will be there, 2 to 2.5 hour sessions. Myself and my husband Shanti Swarup, we both will be doing these sessions. And after every live session during the week, every day we will be giving you guided tasks and support to implement all those alternative methods that we have spoken, all those tools that we have given to you during the live session. See, basically why we have chosen this mode of 1 month intensive parenting is, like, we have been doing workshops after workshops, 3 days, 2 day sessions like that. But what we observed was parents felt very motivated when you hear our sessions, when you hear about what to do. But it never gets implemented. It never gets practiced because there is no support after the 2 day workshop or 2-3 hours workshop. So more than the ideas, more than the tools on how to behave or how to communicate, what to do with children, more than the ideas, it is the implementation support that parents need. That's what we observe. So those who register, they'll be part of a internal community, a group of parents, and we will be sending you everyday messages in the group for the implementation support. Then and there you will learn how to practice it. Then and there you will learn how to implement it, and by the end of the 1 month time period, you would be a better parent than what you were. Okay, whatever percentage be it, it can be a leap like this, or it can be just baby steps towards that. The parent that you always wanted to become, who is really concerned about the future of a child, not just the right now things. The long-term results matter. If the methods that we are using, if with that methods, if we are not getting the results, if the problems are keeping on recurring, then that itself is a sign that we need to check on that and look for alternatives. And there are many alternative methods. And during the workshop, whatever we will be sharing with you are based on our experiences, based on the psychology, and based on the spirituality. So these are the 3 things that we have combined together and we will be sharing with you. There are already some hundreds of parents who have taken up this program and who are already practicing such positive discipline techniques with their children, and they are yielding everyday results. So I invite you all to join this 1 month intensive live program, or I would say 1 month intensive happy parenting program. Those who are interested can join us, and if you have any queries regarding how to go about it or what will you learn and all, you can always give us a call. I will share the number as well. So this is what I wanted to share today. Okay, let us come out of the cycle of punishment and rewards, because these seem very good right now in the short term, but what about the long term? And what are we doing as parents for the development of the values, the life skills on our children? What are we doing? And if you are not doing anything else, who else is there in your child's life to develop all that? So with this question, I end up today's live session. Hope I could share some value to you. If you really resonate with these thoughts that I have shared, do come be a part of our community and enroll for this happy parenting program. Thank you.